Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
Welcome back, everyone, to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. I am your host, Mr. Brandon Elliott. I'm excited today. We have a special guest on today, Eddie. I met Eddie at Real Estate Domination, the first one, over in LA area. And you're from New Mexico, originally, Albuquerque, born and raised. You did the traditional schooling, college, did 4 years at the university, and then you started becoming a firefighter back in 2003, correct?
That is correct.
As well?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, I love it. So then, just the last couple years, at this point, you've been a firefighter and EMT almost 19 years, which is awesome. Very respectable. And then, obviously, with how big you are, you got some muscles behind you. You like the gym. You definitely hit the gym and focus on bodybuilding. And then the last couple years, though, you've been starting to realize the importance of setting up a better day for tomorrow with a real estate portfolio and, starting to pay more attention and interest into real estate. So there's a bunch of different areas that I kind of want to cover and see what the thought process was of just getting started into real estate. But for anybody out there that doesn't know a little bit more about who you are and what you're about, do you mind just diving in to that just a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. Like you mentioned, my name's Eddie. I've been in the fire department now. This is the start of 19 years this year. And EMT as well. At the time, we had to be EMTs to get in the fire department. Currently, you could actually get the EMT class while you're in the fire department, while you're in the cadet class. But when I got in, you had to be an EMT. So this is going on 19 years now this year. And, I absolutely love what I do. I honestly couldn't see myself doing anything else. It's been obviously hectic with everybody, during this COVID time this last year. But, regardless, those are just some of the things that us as firefighters, first responders, doctors, nurses just have to deal with. But it's an unbelievable job. And I honestly couldn't see myself doing anything else.
No, I love it. I mean, it definitely takes a strong character to be constantly serving and risking your life each and every day for 19 years at this point, which is awesome. So highly respect you on so many different levels, and not to get too political or anything, but with this year and everything, your guys' governor is almost as crazy as ours with the certain restrictions that have been holding you guys back and kind of limiting, certain people on the team, right?
Yeah, we've been closed down for a lot of different things multiple times at this point, different stages and different phases of closed down. We're just as bad as you guys when it comes to that kind of stuff. So we've been a little less active on just being able to do things around here. But, it's good in the long run. I can completely understand the process behind it, the why, trying to kind of take control of this, if you will.
Yeah.
But, it's good. And I think now that the vaccines are out, which I know I've gotten my vaccine and others have gotten their vaccine as well, hopefully that'll start to be able to raise some of the activities that we're able to do here shortly.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I think the vaccines will bring a lot of peace of mind to many people out there. Cool. So let's talk about how long have you been hitting the gym, bro? At the end of the day, I feel like that doesn't happen overnight.
No, it's a process. It definitely takes time. I first started the gym when I was 19 years old. And the only reason why I started going to the gym was because my friends were going to the gym.
Yeah.
And that was my way to hang out, after work and stuff. They were like, well, we were at the gym. I'm like, all right, well, if that's my way to hang out with you guys, I'll go to the gym then.
Yeah.
And, when you're in the gym and you start to slowly learn about some things and how things work and why they work and, things to do and that kind of stuff, you start to see results.
Yeah.
And then once you start to see results, you're like, oh, man, okay, well, I think maybe I could push myself a little bit more doing this and push myself a little bit more doing that.
Yeah, it's a confidence builder. Once you start seeing the results, you're aligned with what really needs to happen to get those results, then it's like, whoa,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's definitely, like I said, it's not an overnight thing. It's definitely consistency is key. But over time, it's kind of funny, but over time, then the friends that I started going to the gym with, ended up whether it's getting girlfriends or getting married and having families. And at the end of the day, I was the last one going to the gym by myself.
Yeah.
But I liked it, working out and the physical activities in the fire department too, because, it's a way to help also with mental health.
Yeah.
A lot of first responders and these people, deal with a lot of things mentally as well. So it actually is a way to relieve stress and help with mental health as well. So at one point, it started helping me mentally as well. You get past that point of like, okay, it's more than just working out now. It helps me mentally and feel better mentally as well. So it kind of has a double meaning behind it.
Yeah, that's so good. Not to bitch and complain here, but, I've been consistent with working out since like August. And I'm telling you, man, each and every day, I feel like I'm just getting my ass kicked. Like it's a fight against myself. And yeah, it's funny to see. But, I've lost weight, which is cool. But, the building mass and bulking up is something that I'm missing. So you got 2 tips for somebody like myself or anybody else out there? I know it's the beginning of the year, which is, one of those hot times of the year that
right.
Everybody starts hitting the gym now. Right?
Yeah. The 2 things I say, number 1 is the consistency. Yeah. You have to be consistent, because the more times you're going to take a break, 2, 3, 4, 5 days or a week in between workouts, sometimes it goes out the drain. The second thing is the eating. You have to be fueling the body in order for it to respond and grow. If you're trying to grow muscle or just function healthy. So that those 2, the consistency and the eating are huge.
Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah.
I like that. Cool, man. Let's talk about real estate now. Let's get down to the juicy stuff. So why real estate, and when did you start? Like what started sparking that interest?
I know Jerome Maldonado.
Yeah, that's where we met. But you guys live in the same backyard right there in New Mexico. And
correct.
He's been a big influence, right? Helping out.
Yeah, so the reason why I bring up Jerome is because I met Jerome, speaking of the gym, at the gym about 19 years ago. It was when I first started the fire department. And at that time, I had just started the fire department. So that was my concentration. That was my main concentration, was trying to, get through probation and trying to, figure out how it works. And it wasn't until about 5 years ago when I first started realizing, man, I'm eligible to retire here pretty quick. And I really didn't want to go back to your standard 8 to 5 desk job or anything like that to do, anything on the side. And what I knew about Jerome was that he's had multiple businesses between owning Subway stores and his landscape and the construction company, stuff like that, just to name a few. But everything that he was into or did, he was very successful at. And that's something that I knew. Yeah. So I kind of went to him just one day in and out of the blue just to say, hey, I want to kind of pick your brain and come up with some ideas for myself on just something to maybe possibly do after I retire. I'm on a 20-year retirement program. So if I really wanted to retire next year, I could retire.
Oh.
And yeah, so it was kind of more along the lines of just, being able to generate more capital for myself when I retire on top of my retirement.
Yeah. And you're young, though. So, at a 20-year retirement, you got some years behind you, and you don't want to just be sitting around or just being at the gym all day, right? I'm sure.
Yeah, no, you can only be at the gym so much. So, eventually, I want to fill my time with something, and why not make money, with that free time? And that's when, I kind of realized after talking to him, like, man, this is something I could possibly get into. But I also realized the importance of having other assets and real estate, properties and stuff, how much that actually, I guess it allows you some extra capital in the long run. Which, be able to
equals to freedom. Once you get enough bucks behind you, then it's like, now we start getting some time freedom, and then we have choices and we can do whatever. Right. We can give out, we can help out more people, we can go on vacation, whenever. We don't need to second guess or think about it, which is awesome.
Right. And so that's how I kind of got started, was knowing that my retirement could possibly coming up sooner than later.
Yeah.
And just to be able to generate that more capital, on top of the retirement that I would be getting.
Okay. So as far as getting started, how long ago was it? Do you know roughly your first deal?
We started it was about 4 years ago was the first deal.
Okay.
And we started with just the house that I was living in. I think I was living in that house for about 9 years. No, I owned the house. I bought it. So I was living there for 9 years or so. And that's about the time when I went to talk to Jerome and said, hey, I want to come up with a plan. Yeah. What's step one, square one? Where are we going to start? Yeah. And that was the thing was to, hey, well, we got to start somewhere, kind of get some capital under the belt. And the idea was to sell the house. And we did it fairly easy. I did a couple minor upgrades to the house, cleaned it up real well and started from there. Yeah. And that was the starting point.
Okay, nice. Okay, so after you sold the house, the intention behind that was to get some capital, get some extra funds liquid, right. So that you could start looking around and start getting some properties. What was the main strategy that you were gravitated towards? Was it just anything in real estate, or was there something that actually jumped off the shelf to you and was like, I really want to do fix and flip or rentals or whatever it may be, multifamily?
Well, I knew that, flipping houses would kind of take, number one, a little bit more time than I had at the moment.
Sure.
And I know that's going to take some work. Obviously, when you do buy a home, you have to do, construction and whether it's bust down walls or whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit more time than I had at the moment. So it was more along the lines of, let's start slow, let's start easy, and just go into these subdivisions that are being brand new subdivisions and kind of just start slowly buying some real estate from there. Obviously, that's kind of the longer process because you got to sit on them while they're being rented, eventually. So it's a little bit slower process. But that was, I guess, my comfortable area was just to let's start easy, let's start slow while I still work. And then as I kind of start working my way out of the fire department, then I could start, maybe working into some bigger deals, some bigger projects.
Okay. I like that. So tell me about that first project. You sold your house, you got some liquid funds, then, because I'm sure over time it did appreciate as well, which is nice.
Right. That first deal or that first sale that we made, I think it was 45,000.
Yeah.
So getting that capital under the belt, I literally went to, I think it was a subdivision, probably 2 streets over from where I actually lived. They had a brand new subdivision being built, and they were in that phase 1 subdivision. So I went in there, we negotiated a deal, and that was the second house right there was just literally 2 streets over. And we negotiated a deal, ended up I think it was still halfway being built.
Yeah, it's very new.
But yeah, new project. But anyway,
what I ended up very quick, which is awesome. You're right when you sold, you're 2 blocks over and on to the next one, which is awesome.
Yeah. And so, there again, I sat on that one for a year. And again, we were able to turn that one as well, another 50 grand profit.
Nice. Okay. How much was that first subdivision that you ended up purchasing? You remember the number?
The house price itself was $250.
$250? Okay.
$250K.
And then basically it just appreciated over that next year and you sold off?
Yeah, we caught it so early in the subdivision that they were close to the end of the subdivision when we were going to sell it. Yeah. And they were running out of homes. Yeah. So we put it up and it sold fairly quick. And we were able to make that profit. And I, again, took that profit and rolled it into a couple more houses.
I love it. That's so good. Yeah. Tell me about the next one. What did the next deal look like?
The next deal was actually across town. Same exact type of thing. Brand new subdivision. We walked in there and I actually talked to them about buying 2 houses.
Yeah.
And in doing that, they were able to throw in a couple extra incentives like, full-blown appliance package, stainless steel appliance package. Stuff like that, where I literally walked into the house not needing to do anything. Blinds were on the windows, granite countertops, tile floors. It was set, turnkey, ready to go. And so those are the ones that I'm sitting on now in that subdivision and just kind of waiting for those again, waiting for the same thing, waiting for them to kind of appreciate a little bit in value. Subdivision still being built out. So once it gets closer to the end, I'm going to do the same thing. Just put them up and hopefully, turn something similar, 40, 50 grand on those ones as well.
Yeah. Now, I know Jerome does a lot of new construction and subdivisions as well. So is this one of his subdivisions?
That is not. No. No, his subdivisions that he does are usually about 20 minutes outside of Albuquerque.
Gotcha.
These ones are still within Albuquerque. So it's just a newer subdivision up by the airport.
Okay, now, are there HOA fees? And also, how much longer do you think it's going to take until they're projected to be done with that subdivision?
There are HOA fees on those ones. I don't think there's really any subdivisions that go up around here nowadays that don't have any HOA fees anymore.
Yeah,
so, right?
It's a blessing and a curse. I mean, it's awesome that it's organized. You don't need to worry about cutting the grass and all that fun stuff. Like, it stays looking, but I just don't like the idea that you can't paint your door a certain color or that's like a normal color. Like, I can understand if you want to do like something really crazy, like pink or something just wild that stood out too much. Understood, but if there's a certain tan color or something that they don't like or not approve, that's
correct.
BS on your own property, you know?
Correct. So that one, there is HOA fees. They're quarterly HOA fees. And then to answer the other part of your question is, I'm looking to hopefully, depending on the market and how it's going to be towards the end of the year, I'm hoping to possibly sell those at the end of the year as well.
Okay.
This year.
Great. I love it.
Yeah.
Especially like as they start filling up the subdivision and there's really not much left. So just like your last one where supply and demand, right? It started filling up, not enough left. And then it's like, boom, then you can capitalize.
Correct. Yeah. And that's when I feel now I'm at the point to where I've done a few of these. I have them under my belt. I've gained some capital over the last couple of years. And now that I'm closer towards the end of, my retirement now, I can start looking for other projects, apartment complexes next, or something I could, maybe a duplex or a fourplex, something to add on to, things like that, where now I could probably be able to handle some bigger projects.
Yeah, that's so good. I really love how this is a unique strategy, and I'm really big on creative financing, but also creative real estate investing, right? And this is something like your niche that you found was basically finding the freshly getting started subdivisions within certain neighborhoods, getting and purchasing early, even while they're still, getting it built out, waiting that time frame. Once you actually get it, you'll be one of the first in that subdivision. And then as they start getting finished, supply and demand, other people see how beautiful it looks now. They want to be a part of it. There's none left, so you can jump in and you can capitalize, make an extra 50,000 or more, which is awesome. I've never heard of this niche, right? This is just getting creative and thinking outside the box. That's good.
Well, like I said, it is kind of a little bit of a longer process than a normal flip, that kind of thing. So you have to be patient, if you will. Yeah. But I'm definitely comfortable with it now, where I kind of know I have the know-how to be able to go into one of these subdivisions and how to negotiate it or how early to get in there, that kind of stuff, to where I'm comfortable enough to do that now. And now that I have that comfortability, I could kind of move on to the next phase of, like I said, what's next, the bigger project. And not to say that I wouldn't continue doing stuff like this, because if you could go in there and do the same thing and sit on a few while you have other projects going on, now that's when you start, the ball rolling a little bit faster.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like you said, it's not like the fastest type of technique, but it's a damn sure, strong bet that you wait that year and a half, maybe 2 years at the max, you're going to have that appreciation from the supply and demand, and it is brand new, so you can never go wrong with brand new, and it's a good, solid way to get an extra bang for your buck instead of just, risking it in stocks and so forth. So I love it. It's a cool technique.
Yeah, and I don't know how it is, in California where you are, but it's pretty easy to rent one of these houses out over here.
And it's brand new, and everybody's fighting over it, right?
That's the cool thing, is it's a brand new house, never lived in. So, it could go pretty quick.
Yep, that's good.
Yeah.
So, and the cool part about that is you can almost create a bidding war, because so many people really want to rent there or buy whatever. And it's a supply and demand. You can get a well-qualified tenant or buyer and negotiate stronger rents or what have you, just because everybody wants it.
Right. So I'll say this. I actually do use a rental company. They're a local rental company here.
Yeah.
And when I first sat down with them for the very first rental home, we sat down and they'll give you the analysis. They'll give you their numbers of what things are renting for, right? The comps of what things are renting for. And at that time, everything was, 5, 6, or 7 years old that was renting for a certain price.
Sure.
So when I went in there and we talked, I said, look, this is a brand new home. Like you just said, this is a brand new home. I want to set the record price for this area. And that's exactly what we did. We got it.
That's so good. I love it. Yeah. So that really sets the standards, and then that can help out your neighborhood as well, which is awesome.
Right.
But, usually when you get more in rent, you're also getting a higher caliber of like a tenant as well, So that's
correct. Yeah. When you have a little bit higher rent, that technically, like you just mentioned, brings in hopefully a little bit better of a tenant.
Yeah.
And maybe even
always, but for a rule of thumb, I've done the higher tenants that can, just make it, and it has bitten me in the ass in the past, just being truthful with you, but.
Yeah. Not always. That's not a guarantee, but you're correct. The majority of the time, it'll usually bring in a little bit more quality.
Yeah, that's so good. I love it, man. So this is a strategy that you came up with. It made sense, and something that basically a year and a half or so, you pick up 1, maybe 2, and hold on to it until, the rest of the subdivision is finished, sell it off, make a, quick 50 grand. Something you also mentioned that I really do love is the systems kind of in place of hiring the experts out. Like, what you enjoy, what your time allows. You enjoy real estate, but real estate's a side thing just to be able to compound your income, right? Like, you're working here.
Correct.
You enjoy the gym, you enjoy, firefighting and EMT, but that just pays the bills. You want that to really start working hard for you. And real estate is just that tool that you're utilizing to get there faster. So yeah, it's brilliant. I really love it.
Yeah. And the reason why I used the rental company was for that reason. Let them kind of go out and find people, let them run the credit checks, and let them figure out all that stuff. And and I'll have my free time, and you guys kind of deal with that kind of thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Otherwise, it can be a headache. It can be a headache dealing
with some renters can be a headache. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
I love it. Cool, man. So any learning curves as you were doing these strategies, or, just something that hasn't gone exactly how you anticipated or expected within the real estate atmosphere so far?
I think the learning curve is when you go out there and you start dealing with, whether it's other, brokers, realtors, construction companies, that kind of stuff, you kind of see the different personalities that are out there.
Yeah.
And I understand why people kind of become realtors themselves or brokers themselves, because they don't want to deal with some people or certain ways that they do things, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I know that in dealing with some people myself, other realtors, or some of these realtors in some of these offices that you go to for the new subdivisions, they have certain ways of doing things, or maybe different ideas of how they want to do things when you want to do things your way. And of course, it's maybe not always the best way, but it works for you. That's where, it works for you. Yeah. And so I think it's just learning on how these other realtors and how these other people just within the business are, and it kind of how to deal with some of that stuff.
That's good. Yeah. You got different personality types all over the place. And then when you're in different industries, even though it's real estate related, there's many different ways to make money in real estate, right? And everybody wears a different hat and think completely differently than the, an investor in the relationship, right?
Right.
So it's important to figure out which side of the fence you're trying to be on, and understanding how the other person's thinking, so you can try to match up with them and make sure you are creating a win-win situation. Everybody's happy and hunky-dory moving forward.
Right. So it's just learning, like I said, how people operate, how people like to do things, and kind of taking that, remembering it for yourself. So that way, for the future, you have that experience, or maybe something to change for yourself for the future also, though,
Yeah, that's so good. Eddie, we were talking a little bit prior, before we actually went live, when it comes down to just mentors and people that you got the education from. I know we mentioned, Jerome a little bit as well in the past, and he's been a huge impact on just the mindset and getting you prepared to start taking action in real estate. But overall, would you say mentors are kind of just like the education out there is one of your biggest contributions, or, what would you say to somebody that's just getting started in real estate?
I would say surrounding yourself with the right people. And what I mean by that is, yes, Jerome has been a big influence for me when it's come to this part of my life now, investing, learning how to buy properties, but being around the right people like yourself. When we went to Real Estate Domination 2019 in California, I got to meet you and other people that are trying to do similar things, whether it's flip homes, invest in properties, no matter how big or how small. It's just surrounding yourself with those types of people that are going to push you and that have knowledge that you could learn from them also. I'm always looking to learn new information from somebody that's kind of been there, done that, or has advice. I'm always willing to learn. And I'm still on the learning curve. Even though I've been doing this for 4 years, I'm still trying to learn myself. I spent the last few years trying to learn different things. But when you surround yourself with people that are trying to do the same things as you are, you learn from them too. You get to take little pieces from everybody and hear their side of the story, or hear their, what they did or maybe possibly did wrong, and learn for yourself. So that way you could take that for the future. And now a little bit more, whether it's good or bad, on how to maybe act or react on, certain deals in the future.
Yeah, that's so good. I couldn't agree more with you at the end of the day. That's why we invest so much in ourselves over time, to really surround ourselves, like put us in the same room as other people that have the same mindsets. Like one way or the other, we're going to hit our goals. We're going to succeed. We're going to do what everybody else thought we couldn't, type of thing. That mentality and surrounding yourself with those people, as well as, just like you said, like, we're always going to be learning, even 30, 40 years into this, crushing it in real estate. There's so many more things, learning curves that we'll take on each and every day. So hopefully at that point, we'll minimize them. And you will minimize them when you're surrounding yourself and putting yourself within that right circle, right? Because you never know what the other person has or has been through to be able to walk you out of it or help stop you make a huge decision that could have went the opposite way.
Right. It's their experiences that help you, yes, learn for the future. Or, people like yourself that I could go to and say, hey, look, I have a question on whatever it may be. Have you had something like this, or have you dealt with something like this?
Yeah.
There was people there at that conference that were from here, Albuquerque as well, that I didn't know, but I was able to talk with them as well and get pieces of information from them too. So,
phone numbers. So now, like, it's just a phone call away to connect with it, and everybody's, when you invest in yourself and you get into the same room, like, everybody knows the commitment that they had to give up, whether it's time from their family being there at the event or the money to invest to be there. So they know, like, hey, this guy's done the same thing, nothing but respect. We can trade and help each other out, make it a win-win.
Right. They're making that same sacrifice that you are.
Yeah.
And the same, you're investing in yourself. They're making that same investments in themselves as well. Yeah. So being that you surround yourself with that group of people, and you have that group of people to actually go to call, whether it's, like I said, for information, whatever the case may be, they're on the same page that you are. So, we're all trying to grow, and we're all trying to just continue to move to the next level. And with everybody having that same understanding, I think it's a win for everybody.
I love it. That's so good. So, Eddie, what does the future look like for you, brother? I mean, you got opportunities right now to potentially retire, who knows, in about a year or so. But, is that kind of where you're leading, or what does real estate look like for you in the near future?
So, I'll be honest, I have been
on fire right here and put you on the spot. I know some of your guys will be watching this later.
No, you're good. I've had to learn, let me say this, I've had to learn patience, and I think at some point we've all made a little bit of a mistake to try to be impatient about things. And I think that's big, as because you can't just go out there and try to buy anything and everything, because anything and everything doesn't always work.
Yeah, it's not going to work for every deal. Every deal is different, right?
Right. So I've had to learn patience. Yep. And what I mean by that is I've been looking almost on a daily basis at this point on things now like a small apartment complex, or some foreclosures or some bank-owned type of things. And as you know, depending on the market, is going to probably depend on the amount of things that are out there as well. Yeah. But my next, I guess you could say, step is to try to find maybe an apartment complex or a duplex or something I could even, duplex, maybe I could even add on to things like that, yes, it would be a little bit more of a bigger project the next time I try to make a move. But for now, I'm sitting on the houses that I'm sitting on in hopes to sell them later this year, again, depending on the market. Yep. And if that's possible, then I would like to move on to something a little bit bigger. Like you said, I don't know what I will be doing, honestly, in a year, whether I'm actually going to leave, whether I'm actually going to stay. I love what I do. And it's hard to leave knowing that I could still do it also. Yeah. But if I could still have those bigger projects going on at that point, because I'll have more experience also at that point, then maybe I could go ahead and manage both bigger projects as well as staying in the fire department. But that's my next move, just try to find a little bit bigger of a project next. Like I said, maybe hopefully apartment complex or some bigger units. Bigger units.
I love that. Well, brother, you are in a good position because you got options, which is always nice, right?
Right.
Yeah, whether when the time gets closer to that option where you can either clock out and be done for the day or keep it moving because you are so passionate and very, a servant leader, which is awesome, then you'll have that ability, right? But real estate isn't going anywhere, even with the market and all the chaos from last year and still to today, right? And what tomorrow's going to look like. The signs are still showing that what I've seen and from my real estate connections, it looks like it's still projected to be a good year for this year. So we'll see, because supply and demand is still very high. Yeah, man, I'm excited for you. Just, so multifamily is kind of the goal. We're going to try to get some multiple units. When you were mentioning that, it's very similar to the project that we're working on right now, that we got a duplex. We're adding 2 ADUs in the back, which is exciting. That's going to be down the road once we finally get the green light and permitted for that. But yeah, turning the duplex into 4 units. And the duplex currently, we're adding the extra bedroom upstairs and 2 extra bedrooms and a master bathroom downstairs. So it's a lot of work type of thing, but hiring out the right people, just like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, that's awesome for you guys, though, man. Those are the type of projects that I definitely want to get into.
Yeah.
And again, it's the understanding of how to do it from people like you. That's why I say surround yourself with the right people, because, if I need to make a call out, hey, how did you guys do this? Or, what's your guys' thoughts on something like that? That's something that I'll need to know for the future as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, the relationships, it can literally be priceless for you and save you so much time, energy, money, everything. So
right.
I love that. It's a good final thought. How can people actually get a hold of you? And then to wrap it up, at the end of the day, you just gave an hour of your time. Anything that the listeners or even myself could do to give back to you?
I kind of try to take, like I said before, maybe little pieces of information from people, whether it's a good learning experience or a bad learning experience. Yeah. So any information that somebody has, whether it's good or bad, I would love to hear experiences, or what people have gone through maybe to get what they have also, because that's something for me to understand and learn as well. I'm open to hear anything, good or bad. And like I said, just so I can learn for myself for the future. Maybe some things, whether I need to change it in my own style or something to stay away from, things like that, But yeah, I could definitely give you my email, and I could put it on here. And that way, if anybody feels free that they could email me. And maybe we could, like I said, always try to connect and make our connections a bigger pool.
Yeah, that's so good. At the end of the day, it's all about connection and networking. Right. How we can all grow each other to the next level. So
and help each other out.
Yeah, if you want, shout out your email and then.
Okay, my email is edg948 at Hotmail.
Okay, awesome, and we'll put it in the show notes as well, so you guys can reach out. But everybody that's listening right now, I'm sure you guys got a boatload of notes, just like I have from Eddie, which is awesome. You definitely want to rewatch this and reach out to Eddie. He's got some awesome things going on. Just a, straight up solid dude, man of his word type of, and yeah, just a servant leader, which is awesome. You can't go wrong with Eddie, which I love. So, bro, I appreciate you so much for diving on and giving your feedback from your experience for real estate investing so far. and just really excited to see like where the next step is for you. You got many options ahead and only time will tell, but I'm excited for you, brother. It's going to be awesome.
I appreciate you, man. Like I said, I appreciate you having me on today. And I'm also looking forward to, maybe whatever the next step would be. But I appreciate and all the information that you've shared with me as well. I appreciate all that type of stuff. But thank you for having me on. And I'll definitely be in contact with you as well.
Yeah, man. Nothing but respect for you. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
Cool. So, guys, if you want to, make sure you hit that subscribe button first and foremost, so you get the newest notification every single Monday when the new episode drops. And then leave a review. Let us know what you guys think about it. Reach out to me as well on Instagram. It's Brandon Elliott Investments. And on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Brandon Elliott Investor. If you send me a screenshot of leaving a review on there and hitting that subscribe button, I will send you my book, Action Driven, right there, absolutely for free. So there's a lot of great content in there. We've had heart-to-hearts with certain people, like life-changing experiences with certain people that connected with me just from reading the book worldwide. So you definitely want to get your hands on that. As long as you support and hit that subscribe button, leave a review, let us know what you guys think about the podcast, then I will give it to you absolutely free. Just send me that screenshot. And then if you guys need any type of do-it-for-you services as far as credit repair goes, check out creditrepairmobile.com. Or if you're trying to get educated on credit, then we have our online courses and one-on-one and group coaching to really be able to fix your own credit very quickly, build up your own credit lines, personal and business, several six figures up to 7 figures in credit, and really just be able to structure your businesses properly. And then be able to leverage it correctly and be able to make money for it, like compound all of your new credit lines like we have by buying properties with credit cards or being a hard money lender with credit and completing all of our remodels on credit. I mean, the list goes on and on, the possibilities. So if you want any more information on that, then reach out to creditcounselelite.com. That's our mastermind group and our overall online education platform. So without further ado, Eddie, you're the man, brother. I appreciate you so much. I'm excited for this episode to drop. And yeah, guys, we will see you on the very next episode. Stay blessed.
Thank you very much, Brandon. I appreciate it.
All right, man. God bless.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, God bless.